Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Cramer, the show about Las Vegas lifestyle and community and real estate. My name is Don Cramer. I'm with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty, and we've been off the airs a little bit. It's been a busy year, but we're back. We've got some great shows coming up here, a couple of great interviews, get some market reports coming up to give you the news, information, and data you need about real estate and living here in our, as my good friend John Curtis likes to say, our humble little burg. But more on that later. Today we got a great special guest. He's been with us before on, excuse me, been with us before on the show to talk about photography. He's done some work with us as well and with many great clients, both here locally and nationally. So please welcome back to the show, Mr. Dave Bassett, or as he likes to call, Mr. Dave Bassett.
Yes, thank you, Don. It is a pleasure to be back with you again, and I am a photographer.
That's great.
I'm a photographer.
So, Dave, hey, thanks for being back on the show. It's an important time for photography. I mean, we've got holidays, we've got things. So, what are you doing right now?
What am I doing right now? Honestly, traditionally, December, I'll make an honest statement here, hasn't been that big for me for commercial work. So it's time that I've managed 3 different websites. I have some hospitality art, I have my commercial, and I have some stock photography in Oregon. So there's always plenty to do when you've been taking pictures for as long as I have and for as many different people. So yeah, got some project, actually going to be taking some pictures for my church here this month. And
Nice.
we got maybe a family portrait here or there coming up. So it's all wonderful.
So great, so probably a lot of requests for holiday events, putting them on their holiday cards, some various prints and media. So let's kind of take a little step back. We'll go in the Wayback Machine as Sherman and Peabody used to, and that's kind of dating ourselves. So Dave, what got you into photography?
That's a great story. I'm preparing some narrative on my website. I'll tell you, I had a commercial photo experience when I was in 3rd grade. I was kind of the family photographer for our vacations and travel, but I wanted a sheath knife, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I got it. That's a big ask when you're 9 years old, but really I wanted to take a picture with the sheath knife and my chow dog, and I prepared the time of day and the knife and cut the grass, but it turned out to be, Don, my first commercial photo shoot failure. And here's a couple reasons why. And it goes to how I work today. The planning really was intact, but not quite thought through. I cut the grass, but I didn't cut the grass short enough. I had the talent, the dog, but I really didn't acclimate the dog to having something touch her paw. And I had the complete vision of how I wanted that to look, of course. So, in a way, I have the picture. You can't see the knife barely, and the dog really wasn't having any of it. So that's kind of a fun thing. But I've always been a commercial photographer at heart, and when I was figuring out those college years what to do, I decided to go to a place in Pasadena called the Art Center, which is it's a commercial art college. So they have product design and transportation design, several design fields. That teaches you how to be exactly a commercial photographer. So I've been doing it, well, even in high school I was doing book author portraits, and yeah, been shooting since I was in high school.
Excellent. So Dave, real quick, so you started off because you received something, you wanted to capture it, didn't
Yep.
quite work out. I mean, it's led you on this journey and path. It's been a long journey. I mean, my career's kind of ebbed and flowed and made a couple of pivots, but you've been a professional photographer, have honed your craft for many a year. What is it that gets you up in the morning about photography?
Geez, Don, good question. Honestly, so I segmented my business a little bit. I have my commercial body of work, and then I have my hospitality art type of work. So the hospitality kind of as an extension, I was a stock photographer contributor. I was with Tony Stone Images, which became Getty Images, and I had a kind of a one-hit wonder with both Tony Stone and Getty. I had a picture that licensed and sold all over the world in excess of 150,000 in royalties. So that inspired me to continue to break the rules and make things that looked arty and illustratorly and photographic at the same time. And that's continued. That continues to be kind of a partner in my income as I have continued to work in my, I'm afraid to say how old I am, Don, but maybe 3 decades I've been doing this. So, but the Water District here in Las Vegas, they have been a client of mine for a long time. Those aren't exactly art pictures, but they wanted the beauty and majesty of the river. So I traveled to Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and that was a very fun thing. So, and further with that hospitality art, there's a lovely thing I do. People can see that on my Instagram. We have an in-camera movement. It makes pictures very art looking. And to tell you the truth, that's actually where my thoughts go. I mean, kind of nailed the commercial part of my business. I mean, discussion, planning, consensus, execute, deliver. But there's still some joy and discovery with doing these art types of things. And I've made some lovely packages and dropped them off with architects and designers, and I've got very, very favorable feedback. But it reminded me of my roots because it's discovery. It's like shooting a roll of black and white film and taking it to the lab and looking and hoping and, being surprised with the result. And then with the in-camera movement, it's with the digital, the feedback is excellent. So now I'm chasing color and composition and form and, it's just I went to Hawaii. How am I going to have an amazing picture of Hawaii that's artful and somebody wants to at least look at and enjoy for more than a 4 or 5 count? So I use that blur technique, and it's basically moving the camera on a long exposure.
Sure.
But now I maybe capture the essence or the emotion of Hawaii instead of trying to have a great big fabulous sunset. So, same thing, City Park. I like to go to Floyd Lamb City Park, and they have some ponds out there, and those are some of my favorite pictures. I went up to Lee Canyon right here, the Toyabe National Forest. Same thing. How are you ever going to get an amazing picture somebody might want to hang in their house? You can, but it's camp out, it's hike, it's early, it's a lot. It takes a lot of planning to come back with nearly an award-winning picture. But the emotion of snow and the color of winter and the red bark of the ponderosa pines, and it's wonderful. I don't know if that's sort of off topic, but some of your guests watching may understand that having a pretty picture in a house is wonderful. That goes along with interior design and remodeling of a home, and
absolutely
boardrooms and things like that. So yeah, even in Oregon, I don't know, people may not know, but I was in Nevada for 15 years. I went to Oregon for 8, and now I have been back in Nevada almost for 4 years. So taking pictures of the little city of Corvallis and Eugene. They're wonderful. Those ended up being aerial panoramas, and they're hanging in Chamber of Commerce offices, and mayors give them away as gifts. So it's
nice.
Kind of invent the next thing that you want to do. So that's kind of what I do. I sit around and think, where could I move and put my creative efforts in with my talents, and what could I come up with that somebody might really like to use and to have? So was successful with the Water District, inventing things that they might like to have. Aerial pictures of Lake Mead. I did some aerial panoramas, which are a little more difficult. But those were fun.
So Dave, sounds like it kind of mixes your outdoors situation, because you do love things like kayaking. I've seen some great photos of you out in the hillsides and such, and doing some beautiful panoramas and scapes. And like you said, trying to capture that moment. Also, at the same time, your professionalism leads you to, I know you recently flew back east for a project for I believe it was a law firm. Capturing the
Yep.
essence of that firm.
Yep.
Professional photos, things of that nature. Some real estate, both commercial, residential. So it's you have a wide spectrum of what your photography is about and represents.
That is true, and I enjoy it. So it's nice. I would say the same tools or very similar tools, but maybe just different things in front of me. So it's yeah. The law firm was a wonderful project. It was with a client connection that I had.
Oop, we just dropped Dave. Looks like those old interwebs are creeping in. I hope he paid his internet bill. We'll see here in just a moment. Dave's joining back in.
Right. Sorry, folks.
So Dave, welcome back there. We were hoping Cox or one of the internet companies didn't get mad at you there for a bit.
Yeah, I got a pipeline. I'm plugged right into the modem, so
Were they waiting on a photo from you?
could be. I would like to think I have happy customers, but it is possible that they are playing jokes on me. So I was just describing the wonderful experience I had to fly back east during the time of COVID to the Washington, D.C. area. And here's a funny story. Oftentimes on a big project, even when I worked with you and Colleen, we talked to your web consultant, brand consultant, and we like to have an idea. It's better to have an idea messaging-wise. What do we want these pictures to convey in advance of all the shooting? Because we don't want to shoot and then go look at these and say, well, do we have a picture that looks like X? Do we have a picture that looks like Y? Do we have a picture that looks like Q? We would really rather identify X, Y, and Q in advance. So this is just a fun little tale I'll tell on myself, Don. You'll like it. With the web branding consultant, we decided on the message. It was concerned, compassionate, competent.
Mm-hmm.
I arrived in DC at these offices, and I had scout photos, and we put up the message on the board. Big part of that project was to photograph 21 people who were members of the law firm, all attorneys, and then we did some group shots and individual portraits. So come back and happily, you cover bases while you go to the big effort to have all the equipment and assistance and backgrounds there. So with the 21 people, maybe we shot 50 frames of them with these words, really compassionate, caring, because we really didn't want the attorneys to be super smiley and like we will take your money and whatever, we'll crush the opposition. But as it turns out, they wanted happy, smiling pictures. So thankfully, I took some happy, smiling pictures, and it was good. We just had a little reshuffle on the edit, and everybody was happy, and that was good. That was a leadership decision on their part, and I think that was partly due to them being very inclusive with their employees. So,
well. Well, it looks like Dave is owing one of the internet companies. Dave, you seem to be having some serious technical issues there.
All right, well done. We're barely into this interview.
Yeah, keep dropping off. I think you better get that photo ready and send it over to the internet peoples. They're just waiting on a picture of some cables, right?
Yeah, we just need to show the server. Maybe that's it.
So, Dave, I know we got a little, we touched on some good things there. Let's touch a little bit on, when you're working with a business or a firm, what is, kind of give us the high level without getting into, down too deep, my word of the week is esoteric. Not getting quite so eso. Just kind of take us through the steps of doing, because you just don't show up with the camera and just say, hey,
right. So I recently did a project for Kim Wicklund. She owns Premier Audio Video. She's my ideal client because she had photography in the past, but she did not really use the pictures because she felt they didn't do the job that they were advertised to do. So those are the folks I really like to help out. She wanted new content for her website. This could be a banner image. She has 11 employees. They have 8 or 9 service vehicles. So now we want her to, so you have, get a referral from another satisfied customer. Please go and introduce yourself to Kim, and off we went. So the first part of the process is sitting down with the client or phoning it in and seeing what they would like and what types of ideas they may have already. And then we would meet and discuss. We arrive at consensus. Okay, we'll have all the employees, we'll have the vehicles, but still, you can see that still leaves a lot of choice. You don't really want to go fishing, I like to say, on the day of the photo shoot. Don't want to try to shoot it from the left or the right or straight on. We don't have that much patience or that much time. So I would go and do a scout and show the client, here's what your exterior looks like over here on this side of the driveway. Here's the other side of the driveway. Here's a high view. Here's a low view. So with the digital, it's wonderful. It's a lovely tool. We can easily have some test shots. We can easily show those to the other people within the group that are helping to make that decision. So probably had 3 scouts, 3 lengthy conversations, and then that way on the day of the photo shoot, we also would generate a production plan. So that's 11 employees. Each are going to have their own portrait, and then we have variations on the exterior, and we did another group shot on the interior. So I like to run with with a game plan in mind. That way we're not sitting around wondering what the next thing is to do. And that's the day. I mean, you can certainly turn left once you have made your commitment and you have your decision, but it's good to have a very solid game plan and everything. So that's kind of my role. You may remember that I asked you and Colleen, what we were going to be after. We talked about wardrobe. So yeah, planning and prep, I think, is a huge part of photo shoots, and the digital, and being able to run that right to a laptop where you can see a picture much larger than just the back of the camera. Now we can see expressions.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question? Was that esoteric?
No, I think we're good there. I think not quite so eso.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, in some cases, from the photo shoot, you may need to do post-production for people. That's work after the photo shoot for enhancements. I mean, for me, it's okay you're in some chinage. So, how does that's a balancing act, wouldn't you say? Because it's like, okay, you're trying to nail as much as you can in the photo.
Sure.
To where you don't need to go on and put on, I almost look at post-production like, okay, we're going to put on a lot of makeup.
Right. So, and I'll tell you, look, there's a preponderance of digital devices. The apps are going to be continued to improve. I mean, I don't really like a highly made up look. So, and that it really depends what the client, like what you and Colleen might have enjoyed for your result. But yes, I think you're really asking me, how does post-production go? And so you can do as much smoothing of the skin textures to make it even to the point of, nearly incredible or unbelievable. But I think I'm business to business. I'm not really doing dating site photos, which I still think you'd be stretching the authenticity. I mean, I prefer an honest, genuine result, and I don't really I don't do too much makeup. When you have nice lighting, that helps a lot. What else can I say? Where the digital really helped me on the Kim Wickland and Premiere Audio video was that inside, when I have 11 people around her reception area, I'm able to grab a very beautiful face expression from various people. I didn't need 11 people to do the exact wonderful thing that they could do all at the same time. So that takes back in the film days, we would have kicked that pretty hard, and we would have slammed a bunch of rolls through the camera, and you just would have been hoping, you got at least 8 or 9 of the people looking great. I had a dog in this particular shot, Don, a little pound rescue. So the digital really helped. The digital helps refinement at the end, and used judiciously, I think it's a wonderful and marvelous tool. And I do enhancements on all my projects.
There you go. All right. Well, Dave, now we get into just a little bit of the business branding and marketing elements, and you know as well as I do. Oop, there we go. Dave, can I get those photos over to the web peoples? Dave, you gotta get those photos over to the web peoples.
I know. So maybe it's the Firefox browser. I
Could be.
can switch to Google if you would like. That's
Google may be a little better.
all right. Let's. I don't know if I dial up to here.
It should be, open up the Google Chrome and should be able to pop that on there, and then we'll drop you.
Okay.
Oop, you hear the typing. Sounds like an IBM Selectrix.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Oh, there we go. There you go, Dave. You there?
I'm here.
Perfect. All right, let's ride with this for a bit.
Thank you, Don.
So, no, absolutely. Thank you. So, Dave, the situation, and I want to add left, add right. So let's talk about the situation. And the situation is this. I mean, back in the day, we all had maybe a 35 millimeter, but it was really probably a point and shoot with the old drop-in cassette cartridges back in the day. And then we all started getting our little 4 megapixel, 6 megapixel pocket cameras. Now high quality professional image, cameras like I like to shoot a little bit. I'm kind of as I like to probably put, I'm like an 18 handicap in golf with regards to photography, but I like the kit, I like the technology, and it's come a long way, both in photography and video. But this thing here has really brought a lot of people. I mean, so much content is created both in a video context and a photography context, and a lot of them great quality, and then a lot of it, which is probably the majority of it, not so much. And we're even seeing people trying to, as my brother likes to say, not stay in their lane and try to bring photography to professional settings, things of that nature. When we work on a project, we've got enough capability to do a couple light things, but we know ultimately, we're bringing in the pros. When we're doing something for the web, again, like yourself, we're bringing in the pros. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the value of that versus trying to keep it to yourself.
All right, so stay in your lane. That's a nice little phrase. I like it. Well, back when we had drop-in cartridges, I mean, we really didn't have the internet. We really didn't have social media. And frankly, I had a lot more shuffle in my business because people really couldn't get a good picture of a hand signing a check that they needed for a financial company to promote something or what have you. So, look, all of these. Look, I love that people are taking pictures. I love that pictures are popular and being used. I would say that I am my first foot forward goes with taking pictures that last a long time. So, I mean, if you're a person that likes to have several different headshots for your business use over the course of the year, you like to take them when you're on vacation or when you're on the job, having the ability to hand the phone to somebody or having somebody take a couple snapshots of you, that works good for you. If you are, on the other hand, somebody that doesn't really want to fuss with wardrobe and and locations too much, and you just want a picture that lasts a long time. Here's what I would imagine, that the cream is going to rise to the top, and that my phone is going to be ringing off the hook. Now, I've been hoping and thinking that for many years. So yeah, I mean, without the planning and without the other little things that you can do with a photo shoot, you might be leaving some messaging or part of your brand on the table, and you're not always capturing it effectively. So it's just a matter, like I said at the introduction, Kim Wickland had photography in the past, but didn't even use the pictures because she didn't really think that they met the message. So that's really more my jam. I can't run out there and ask people not to use their iPhones and cell phones. I mean, I love the pictures. I was just at the Thanksgiving, celebration, and people were taking cell phone pictures, and I mean, the editing ability on the fly was crazy. You tap somebody and it knocks you out. So yes, Don, my industry is under attack, and I might be threatened. My income and livelihood may be, changing, but I don't think so, really.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah, use
well,
it. People, we
all,
like it.
exactly. We have technology and disruptions across all fronts, and for me,
Mhm.
for our group, we look at it not as a challenge but as opportunities. Um,
Okay.
with yourself, I mean, you look at it and go, okay, great. Maybe that, hopefully, maybe that iPhone photo got them started, but they need to now ramp up,
Hmm.
next level up with yourself, or when they realize, okay, hey, we're really kind of doing ourselves a disservice without having professional shots, because this is a
Right.
very, our world is becoming more competitive across all businesses, and
Sure.
how we look and present ourselves both in a print and digital format. And that actually leads me to another element, Dave. Do
Hmm.
you look at things differently from a print versus digital deployment of that photo?
All right. So elaborate on your question a little bit more. If I know where the end result, where what the end use is going to be, do I approach
Yeah.
differently?
Let's say
Perhaps,
it's
or
for a magazine versus for a banner on a website.
hmm. Uh, Honestly, for me personally, as a content creator and maker, no, I don't. I mean, I've been lucky. People don't really ask me for the $100 photo shoots or
Right.
just something to get by. You put me with a microphone and a video here, but I could say where I see things that are being done. A PR firm may have a casino or a restaurant and a casino that may send out their worker bees that are in the social media department to take pictures of the food or the drinks that are brought to the table.
Right.
Okay, so if that's on the social media super highway and that picture is going to be around for 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days, do they really need to have a $1,500 photo shoot of that restaurant? Possibly not, but you wouldn't put those pictures on the menu. You wouldn't put those pictures on the website. They're quickly executed, and I mean, I started a different path in my career where I wanted to make pictures, and I'm happiest when they last a long time. I have people that use my portraits that I have taken, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. So, um, right, different purpose, different use. I'm not sure I stayed on topic
No,
there.
I think you hit the essence there. It sounds like if this imagery is about longevity,
Right,
about capturing the essence of it, then the investment is necessary.
exactly.
Versus if we're talking, let's say, short shelf life, social media is, you could probably consider short shelf life.
Right.
Versus even in a digital format, like you said, the banner, the hero image of a website could
Hmm.
even be a billboard. It could be a magazine cover. Um, those have different shelf lives,
Sure, and
and those are making different impacts.
you experience this with Realty because you may not need to run at a home and have fabulous pictures taken. Today, how long is a home on the market? So
Right.
you Colleen, the homeowner could be taking their own pictures of what the front yards and backyards and insides look like, and that may be adequate. Yeah, I like it when things are competitive, Don. So yeah, I'd like to be in competitive markets.
Yep.
That's helpful for me because people know the value of being refined with their message, being on point with their brand. And honestly, here's a secret I'll say about photography. To have good results, it does take planning in advance. And that's often difficult, especially if I'm client direct. That means a marketing director or a business owner needs to take time away from their daily routine to sit down and kick the tires, so to speak, with me and decide, all right, do we want one picture outside? We want a picture with people? Do we want a picture with just the equipment? How good does that picture need to be? Those are all things that are great questions to ask. They do go to longevity. Basically, we want people to be happy with those pictures. So that's still kind of going to be my favorite territory, is taking pictures that people care about and want to be better than average. So the preponderance of devices and the people entering the market offering pictures, you don't want to race to the bottom with the lowest price. You want to maybe offer thoughtful, quality branding pictures that work very, very well.
And that's kind of, we operate in that in our industry and situation with our photography. We bring
Sure.
a lot to the table with regards to photography, video, and this leads us probably to probably my last question now, or I get this a lot, is we hear a lot about our products, and whether it's even a entry home, mid-level home, even a luxury home. We'll occasionally get or saying a lot, or occasionally, more than just an isolated incident. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get some people going, wow, this shows differently than the photos. Now, a lot of times when we're representing the buyer, we're looking at the photos, vis-a-vis the MLS, which is pretty much where everyone else is seeing them distributed out through a web product like the ones that start with a Z, or the couple that start with an R,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the same image assets.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get a couple that goes, wow, this, we're kind of like, wow, we may not show that property. But we get a lot of views through our properties because of our, use of professional photographers and videographers, and they capture the property in a great light, to where sometimes, wow, this shows a lot better. And I go, or this doesn't look like the house being shown on the web. And I go, it's the same house. We didn't dress it up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
How do that it's like a little Q&A we get saying, okay, are we playing Jedi mind tricks?
Well, so here's a couple of things that, we want to touch on two things. um, we're always looking for that relationship to last and go further. You
Right.
can kind of talking about quality or quality of experience or customer service to the end client. And maybe if you're asking, I didn't turn the spotlight and ask Don Cramer, what does Don Cramer wish for and how pictures can look better? But it sounds like we found something. So the tendency with interiors of homes is to use the widest angle lens as possible. And that tends to be maybe somewhat repetitive. I mean, I don't know what you can do. And the smaller homes with the smaller rooms aren't as photogenic.
Right.
Clearly, you're into a $500,000 home or even $1 million home, things are going to start to look, amazing. And even though real estate for sale photography isn't my bread and butter, I've certainly photographed hundreds of homes over the years, and I've been lucky to be in some really, really nice ones. So, yeah, that's always the question. I mean, and I don't know if I'm saying anything to you or to the realtors, but if the ability to not always use the widest lens setting can be helpful. I mean, honestly, I really don't know. Taking pictures of real estate is an interesting challenge in and of itself. But we don't really need to throw $2,500 at a home. I mean, do you need to be in there when the light is coming through the front windows and it's lovely? And, this is just a very quaint, or it wouldn't be quaint, but it would be a very cozy home setting. Is it worth it to visit that home 3 or 4 times to maybe get more of the emotion of that home conveyed in the photography? Can be done. And you're probably the realtor. I mean, actually, you have the tool in your hand. You have if you're the listing agent, you have the more opportunity to go by and see that home. And, I mean, this would go towards staging. You know about staging. People like to take out things, furniture from the home to make it look a little bit bigger and to make it look more easy to move into. Look, again, I'm going to say it's most of that home photography at the middle to lower end, it tends to be the lowest common denominator serving that market. You're not
Right.
going to take time to make that look amazing. So again, kind of goes back to what I had stated earlier about photography. This is a neat thing to learn. I mean, the more you kick the tires on it, up to a point, can't kick the tires on it and discuss it forever, and you can't go to a house 7 times during the day to have different lighting in there, but you could, and you could get a different type of product that might show more authentically and might match more the wow factor if that's kind of what you're looking for. So if you were, there is a nice payday if you're the listing agent on a home, and would be more fun to have this discussion in a challenging market when homes were a little bit grumpy to sell. And then I'd really be helping you out with some strategic and tactics, some strategy and tactics. But I think
Yeah.
I addressed it. You have to kind of do common denominator on some things.
Yeah, and I think too. I mean, we don't. We're kind of like you mentioned earlier. We're still be about quality, cream rises to the top. I mean, when you look at what we do, our results, even though we're still in a competitive market, very high. If you put a tough shit out, you should be able to sell it pretty quickly. Uh, but even then,
Okay.
I think we still trend a little bit above because of how we bring an eye visually to a property. But
I
it's
agree.
interesting how we get a couple of comments from people who go, "Wow, this one shows a lot better," and I go, "It's the same as we showed it when we shot it."
Right. Yeah,
So
that's. I mean, there you have I mean, maybe I could say I based my career on that because we. I mean, I strive for outcomes to meet or exceed expectations, but there are parameters that go with that. Nobody has infinite amount of time or infinite budget on
yep,
things. You're going to start making some decisions that will affect what things look like at some point. It is fun being a photographer. I mean, this is, I'm happy that everything hasn't turned into video. Video is very popular today, but I'm still happy, video versus still. A still picture actually needs to be a little better because when pictures are moving, as in a video, you drive right by the spots or
right.
the outlet that's on the wall behind me. You wouldn't even notice that. So when it's a still, I mean, and that's what we talked about earlier for me. We like to retouch that out a little bit. Whoops, I'm trying to show that behind me. The Edison plug. Yeah, those are things we can refine and make look a little bit better.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely,
Video.
absolutely.
Or did I answer you? Don, you have asked some very nice questions today. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much, Dave. I'm going to leave you with one more. So, you have anything coming in the pipeline soon?
Don, you started the conversation that way, and I guess we're going to end the interview that way. Uh, yes, you know what? I just decided to do a little service to community. I'm going to be taking some pictures for my church. It's a lovely church. Um, they don't really have enough content for their website and their bulletins, so yeah, I'm excited about that. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. So uh, that's the one project I'm working on. In terms of anything else, folks, if you are thinking about photography, you want to understand it better for your company or your service, give me a ring. We'll start talking about your project.
Excellent, excellent. And for everyone tuning in today, if you'd like some more information about Dave and what he does and some of his past projects, you could definitely check out Dave online. He can be found at BassettStudios.com, BASSETT Studios.com. Also, BSFimages.com. And also, too, you can find David on Facebook at Bassett Studios. Dave, I appreciate you being on here. Thank you for being on the Fall Coffee with Cramer. And if anyone has any questions, definitely reach out to Dave, like I said, or message us. We'd love to hear your questions or comments about photography and real estate, and what Dave's doing. It's always a hoot to have him on. Dave and I also belong to some business networking groups together, so we'll be catching up here very soon. We always love sharing a laugh and a chat about imagery and things of that nature.
And I would like to say, as our wind-up proceeds here, Don, I think you're one of the smartest realtors in the Las Vegas Valley. I've enjoyed speaking with you. I appreciate the way you compile statistics and the way you explain and the way you approach your sales and how you service your customers. It's very remarkable, and it's appreciated.
Well, very kind of you. We greatly appreciate that. And then also, too, if you're tuning in, you like this, hit the like button. And like I said, feel free to comment. And also, too, with this being on YouTube, and like to have more videos about, like our interview with Dave. We've got a couple other great ones coming up as well, market reports and some of our latest listings. Hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified on our upcoming videos and content as they get released and published. So on behalf of the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty, I'm Don Cramer. David, pleasure as always. Great having you on. We cheers to you. And for everyone tuning in, thank you everyone for being on board. And hopefully you have a great day. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.